Hey, welcome to The Better Drummer with Zach Covington. I'm Zach Covington. Today we're going to talk about 5 easy jazz swing fills to get you a little bit further down your jazz drumming path and to give you some cool ideas to kick off the next section of a tune or, not just play the swing pattern the whole time. Let's get started. Before we dive in, I just want to say that after all of these fills, we're probably going to end with a crash of some sort. Now, you can do that on the ride cymbal or on a crash cymbal if you have one and you want to do that. But we're going to place it in 2 different spots, or you can place it in 2 different spots. One is right on the downbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, crash. Or we can put it on the and of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And you'll hear me play both examples once we get into these 5 fills. After I teach you each of these fills, I'll give you a little bit of a snippet of me playing them actually in a piano trio setting, so you get to hear what they sound like, not just as the drums by themselves, but how they sound in context of a tune. The first rhythm I want us to talk about is really easy. It's just 8th notes, and it's just going to be on beats 3, the and of 3, and 4. So that goes a little something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There are many different ways we can orchestrate that around the drum set. The easiest is just with one hand on one of the drums, maybe the snare drum or the rack tom. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1. Here's what it sounds like in context. Let's do that same thing now just on the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now let's play both hands, or play double stops, on the rack tom and the snare drum. And that's sort of this final idea, combining those 2 elements to get one fill. Goes like this. 1, 2, here we go. Fill number 2 is sort of a variation or an addition to that first fill of 3 and 4. And we're just going to start playing 8th notes. We're just going to start on the and of 1 instead. So that'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1. Like that. Again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1. Let's put that on the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can use the same concept that we talked about with that first fill with this one as well. So we can do it just on one drum, just on the rack tom, just on the snare drum, just on the floor tom, any instrument here. But when we have a longer phrase, one that's more than 2 or 3 notes, we generally want to vary it in some way. And so one way that is super helpful and is super useful for me is playing 2 notes, the first 2 notes, 1 and 2 on one instrument, playing the and of 2 on a different instrument, then playing 3 and 4 on a separate instrument. So that'd be like this. Maybe I'll just choose the drums first. So I'll play and 2 on the floor tom, the and of 2 on the rack tom, and then 3 and 4 on the snare drum. That sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. With a phrase like that, again, there are so many ways that we can orchestrate that around the drums. A way that's super helpful for me, similar to that, is by using double stops and by actually having one of those notes be on the hi-hat with our foot. And that one is on the and of 2. So we play 1 and 2 and, again, 1 and 2 and, just like that. Let's play this fill now as double stops on the snare and rack tom, and we'll add that hi-hat in on the and of 2. So real slowly, that sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like that. Here it is, a little bit faster. 1, 2, a 1, 2, here we go. Now, if this is your first time putting the hi-hat somewhere that's not on 2 or 4, take a second to sort of understand the mechanics of that and go really slow. If you're used to that, then the and of 2 should be no problem. Here's that fill at a little bit faster tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. One more variation of that fill is instead of doing double stops, if we did the first 2 notes on the snare drum, the hi-hat on the and of 2, and then the last 3 notes on the rack tom. So that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And even more interesting is if we played and 2 and 3 and 4 on the snare drum. So instead of 3 and 4 on the rack tom, we have 3 and 4. That would sound like this. 3, 4, 1. So we sort of bookend that fill with 2 snare drum notes. Group of 2, group of 2, group of 2. Let's hear that. 1, 2, 3. The third fill I want to teach you today is the 6-stroke roll. Now, if you know what the 6-stroke roll is, you can skip ahead just a little bit because I'm just going to explain what that is and then go more into the context. But if you're new to a 6-stroke roll, it is this sticking: right, left, left, right, right, left. Again, that's right, left, left, right, right, left. And often these are used in triplets or sextuplets, which is just basically triplets, but faster, you could call them. Let's play that really slowly together. We'll make it sound like this. We'll play it as triplets. So we'll play right, left, left, right, right, left, right, just like that. And go. One more time. The key to the six-stroke roll is to accent the first and last note. So the first right hand and then the last left hand. And what this does is it gives us the sort of momentum to do another six-stroke roll. So we can chain a lot of six-stroke rolls together. So that would sound like this. I'll start slow and speed up. The first way we're going to play this fill is as two triplets starting on beat 3. So 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And then we're going to crash on the downbeat. This one you have no choice if you use it as more of a triplet like this. Here it is. Let's play it together. 1, 2, a bar of time. Now with this fill, we can also do a ton of variations with that. One that I find super helpful and use all the time is moving that first note to the rack tom or the floor tom. Or we can move the first note to the floor tom, the left hand 2 strokes after that to the rack tom, and then finish it out on the snare drum. Let's start easy. Let's start with our right hand to the rack tom. Another way to play this fill is to, instead of having it spread over 2 beats, have it all in 1 beat. So the notes get really close together, and that's where those double strokes in the middle of the 6-stroke roll, right, left, right, right, those become super important in the technique of getting that together. Here's what it sounds like if we do it all on beat 4, so all 6 notes on beat 4 and ending with a crash on the downbeat. Again. We can do the same variations that we did with it in triplets in a 6-tuplet all in 1 beat. It just makes it a little bit harder because we're cramming it all into a smaller space. So you have to move your hands faster and rely a little bit more on your technique as you build those double strokes and moving around the kit. Let's try it out in a few different ways. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The key to getting those fast 6-stroke rolls out is to sort of let your hands flow and to really be nice and relaxed and nice and loose. If you tense up, those double strokes are not going to be able to happen, and then you're just going to lose all that momentum you're putting, and it's going to feel really tense. So stay nice and relaxed. When you get up to faster tempo, it should look sort of like this, right? Nice and loose, nice and relaxed. The fourth fill I want to teach you today is just a press roll. A press roll is where you just press into the snare drum, or any drum really, but mainly on the snare drum, and you get this one continuous sound that sounds like this. Right? Often found in concert band or marching band settings even, but we use it all the time in jazz drumming as well. One of the main ways we use this is doing it across a whole bar or 4 beats in most music, and crescendoing that press roll. So starting nice and soft, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, and then ending with a crash on 1. So that sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time: 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the key to a good press roll is to make sure you're getting lots of bounces on each stick, making sure you're putting enough pressure down into the drum, and then moving your hands at a speed that is not too slow, but also not too fast. If you go too fast, you have to work too hard, and if you go too slow, then you can't get that smooth connected buzz or roll all the way through. Another tip to the press roll or the buzz roll is that you can let it fizzle out a little bit, towards the end of the fill. So sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Again: 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to, you can even put a kick on the end of 4 into that big crash on beat 1 to give you a little bit more emphasis on the downbeat. The fifth and final jazz swing fill I want to teach you today is just triplets. Starting on beat 1, going all the way through the measure. This is one you've probably heard before. This one's really popular in big band music, especially because it builds up a lot of energy in a short amount of time, and you can end with a big crash at the end. The most popular place to put this is the snare drum and the floor tom, but you can do it on the toms, you can do it on the snare and the rack tom, you can do it on the ride cymbal and the snare drum. Any combination works, but most of the time, floor tom and snare are where those are going to be placed. Here's an example now of that triplet. We're going to play a bar at a time and then play those triplets. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. You may have noticed on that last time, I ended on beat 4 so that I could crash on the end of 4. If you need to crash on the end of 4, that's all you need to do. Just cut some of the triplets off so you can crash early. Same goes for the end of 3. Just end on 3 to crash on the end of 3. But if you need to crash on the downbeat, you can just play those triplets all the way through and end with a big, satisfying crash on beat 1. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button below and the thumbs up so that I can feed my parakeet. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you when you're a better drummer.